Hi, this is Mr. Mullaney, and this is a lesson recap of our lesson about George Washington's foreign policy. This deck of slides was designed by my student teacher, Mr. Colin Boyle, with some slight modifications by myself. And that first modification, by the way, is this cover slide. I use a bust of George Washington from George Washington University, where I happened to graduate college. Go Colonials! We'll get back involved in the A-10 basketball scene one day. Anyway, on to Washington's foreign policy. You may remember from freshman year world history, the French Revolution, the uprising against King Louis the 16th. That's what America is dealing with, and they're dealing with it in this sense. The French Revolution puts France at war with many of its neighbors. Revolutionary and nationalist zeal fuel France's desire for war. Concern about the spread of toppling monarchies fuels the zeal of the European countries. So France is in a state of war with its neighbors. How does this apply to the United States? Who do we trade with? France and her neighbors. So Jefferson sides with the French. He likes the idea of overthrowing the aristocracy and the monarchy in favor of a republic. Now, Jefferson was an aristocrat. He's quite a complicated and sometimes contradictory person. Mob violence, however, of the French Revolution was scaring the Federalists. Washington says, we're going to be neutral. We're going to be friendly towards both sides, both France and all of its European enemies. However, during this time, something happens, and a political scandal takes place that causes a lot of Americans to really dislike the French, and that's the Citizen Genet or Genet, different people say it different ways, affair. This is a French foreign minister, and he comes here. Foreign ministers are supposed to be representatives of one government to another. They are not supposed to lobby citizens of the country they're visiting to take arms up against another country. And that's what Genet did. And that was a big scandal. Washington asked France to recall him. Hamilton obviously was very much for that. Hamilton sided with the British. The Federalists liked the stable, strong, aristocratic government. It's 8:30. It's getting near my bedtime, so saying a word like aristocratic is a little challenge for me right now. Anyway, even Jefferson had to concede that he should be sent back to France. However, he marries the daughter of the governor of New York, so he gets so that he's not deported. So Washington's foreign policy, Britain. So Britain had still not evacuated Western forts like they were supposed to under the Treaty of Paris. And Britain wanted to eliminate trade between America and France. In the Northwest Territory, you have Native Americans who are supplied and egged on by the British in conflicts against the continuing settlers from America. So General Mad Anthony Wayne, a Revolutionary War general, and if you go to Valley Forge, you can see a statue of him. And that statue is actually looking out over Wayne, Pennsylvania. That's all true. Named for General Anthony Wayne. And there's a movie theater there called Mad Anthony Wayne Cinemas. I saw St. Vincent there last fall. Pretty nice theater. Anyway, so with this conflict going on, with Britain wanting to stop trade with our trade with France, with harassing our ships trading with France, with encouraging Native Americans to fight us, with not leaving their forts in the West, what happens is you get Jay's Treaty. John Jay, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, negotiates this with Britain. Now, I don't think Barack Obama would send Chief Justice John Roberts to any country today, or even, say, Iran, to negotiate a nuclear treaty today. But I guess back then, a lot of jobs overlapped. Okay. Jay's Treaty, very unpopular because the British agree to abandon earlier forts, and so that's fine. And the Americans agree to pay pre-Revolutionary War debts to British merchants. Okay, no big deal. But the British didn't agree to stop attacking ships and impressing sailors. And impressing, as John Green says, is not dazzling them or impressing them with something. It's kidnapping them to be soldiers. So the British don't guarantee that they will stop doing this, and this aggravates the American people. It does get ratified by one vote. You need 2/3 to ratify a treaty in the Senate. It receives that by one vote, but people are very upset. And John Jay said that you could. Tom Ritchie talks about this in his video. John Jay said that he could travel the distance of the country at night just with and he could see everything by the flames of the effigy of him that were being used in protests. When you hang someone in effigy, you hang up like a rag doll that's supposed to represent them, and you burn them. And that used to be a big form of political protest. Not so much anymore. All right, Battle of Fallen Timbers. We're talking about this western area, 1794. The British refuse to help the Native Americans. They didn't want to start another war. Wayne routs the Native Americans, and you get the Treaty of Greenville in 1795. The Native Americans concede a lot of today's Midwest, and it was just one in a series of terrible developments for the Native Americans. So thank you, Mr. Boyle, for those slides. That's our lesson recap on Washington's foreign policy.